So the first thing when it comes to cancel culture and kind of giving your thoughts, right? And this is what I would deem to be a interesting way to look at it. So all the things that I'm going to prompt you guys with as far as the beginning of a thought, I want you guys just to observe these few things, okay? First thing is I want you to observe the previous cancellations and ask yourself the question as if they worked or not, right? So observe them and observe the uniqueness that each specific individual has that led them to be canceled, right? So I feel like everyone should learn specifically something from each individual and then try to take that. Let's just say you're a person who makes content as well, right? You should take everything, especially with those people, and you should take it and apply it to your own platform, right? If you have a platform and you do want to be canceled for something that you say, observe certain things that that person didn't stay away from, and remove that or alter it a specific way, and cater your message a specific way in order to avoid that potential from happening, right? Ideally, that's not the ideal thing you want to do when it comes to, like I said, having a voice is to be canceled. So to avoid that, like I said, pay attention specifically to what the people that got canceled didn't do, right? Yeah, and ask yourself the question, why did they get canceled, right? I feel like every single person kind of gets canceled for a different reason, right? And also with this is there true validity behind the cancellation, right? Do they truly believe what they said? And also with that, um, I want to kind of throw in this element of understanding that there's some ideas that people maybe not they maybe not have recognized that it would have that much of an impact, right? So like let's just say for example, you have an opinion and a lot of people disagreed with that opinion and it led to you getting canceled, right? From that position that you're in, right? But you're still a person at the end of the day, right? And you might have learned something from that experience. Now, do you deserve a second chance, right? That's something that you also got to take into account as well. I feel like with this cancellation, I feel like we really lost the true art of forgiveness, and that is part of being a human being in general. Is just understanding that we're all going to make mistakes. We're not always going to say the right things. We're not always going to have the right opinions that the most people are going to agree with. But that is what makes us human at the end of the day. And as time passes, we change over time. We aren't the same person we were a year ago, or 2 years ago, or even maybe even a few months ago. And with that being said, I feel like a lot of people they really don't take that into account. Let's just say there's something that happened 8 years ago, and let's just say I'm going to use an example. Right? I'm going to use an example. A famous guy like let's just say like Joe Rogan. Let's just say 5 years ago something happened, and it's just now brought to society's attention right now, and it leads to him being canceled. Right? This is obviously all make believe, but let's just say it happened. Right? Do you think he's still that same person from 5 years ago? Right? And how much validity should you be able to take from that thing that happened in the past? Right? The media is so quick to, say that is that person. That is the exact way that they think right now. And that person, that even though 5 years has passed, should still be canceled for that reason. Right? You got to understand how the media likes to spin narratives as well. Right? That's another thing that you really need to take into account when it comes to cancellations and stuff like that. See how the media spins out, and one thing I want to say as well is you also need to know the true intention behind that person. A lot of people they just hear what the media has to say and they just write the person off right then and there. They do not take the time to try to really analyze why that person got canceled. Right? I feel like that's very interesting. And I'm not speaking specifically on one person. I'm speaking specifically on just everything in general. Right? Just everything in general. I feel like that really needs to be analyzed specifically with all the people who have gotten canceled. Right? There's something to learn from every single person for sure. Um, Yeah, and yeah, I wanna say this again, right? Everybody's on the constant state of evolution, right? That is part of the human being in the human experience in general. So who's to say that person from 5 years ago, like I mentioned, is that same person that is right now, right? That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. But yet, like I said, society likes to spin the narrative a certain way, saying, "Hey, that person is the same exact way," right? So you got to analyze these things. Also, one thing I want to mention as well, and I think this is very very important. And if you have a lack of understanding but you still have an opinion and you want to do more research on trying to have a more thorough opinion, on whether you should, strongly believe so firmly in one belief or not. I would say with the people who have gotten canceled, also analyze specifically why their supporters support them so heavily, right? Why are they quick to defend them, right? I feel like a lot of people do not analyze those things, or they just don't care enough to truly analyze that, but they care enough to have an emotional reaction when it comes to why that person should have been canceled or why that person did get canceled, right? So yeah, you need to analyze all these things for sure, and and maybe they have commonalities between their supporters, right? I feel like that's something that you should definitely analyze for sure. Yeah, we got a lot of people in here. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure to leave a comment if you are in here. Also, I do want to know your guys' specific thoughts on cancellation, on whether you think it should happen or not, and how do you think about society and how we went about it when it comes to people's cancellations as of recently. All right. Yeah, another question you want to ask yourself is, do you think this is something realistically going to be a thing of the future, right? I do believe that, or I believe and hope that this is something of the past, right? I feel like cancellations, they're not exactly healthy, and I do believe that there's going to be certain situations where somebody realistically needs to get removed. Now, those situations are very far and few between, right? And I do believe that when it comes to making the decision of who should be canceled and who shouldn't be canceled, right? That should be something that the people have a say in, not so much, um, not so much the people who whoever makes the decisions, right? Who we don't truly know who they are and their motives and their agenda that they have. I do believe that it should be a people's vote, right? The people who, let's just say, for example, somebody got canceled on Instagram or something like that, right? They got removed, whatever, right? And that person is big, and that person also has a big following as well. I do believe that it should be the people's option, right? It should be a poll or something that people can contribute to if they would like. Um, but that is going to make a well-informed decision of what the people and the masses want, right? And I feel like that would be a lot more of an ideal way to go about certain situations when it came to me observing the past and how the past cancellations have worked. I do believe that that'd be way more efficient and way more effective when it comes to seeing if somebody should be canceled or not, right? Also, like I said, evaluating the true motives behind that person. Are they truly an evil person? Do they truly have bad intentions? And if they do, you act accordingly. And if they don't, then maybe you're missing something. Maybe you're not missing something, but there could be something you're potentially missing. Like I said, if you're in here, like I said, I want to know your opinions specifically on cancel culture. So make sure to go ahead and leave a comment on that for sure. All right. People could change over time, and I think they have another chance because they could have changed their mindset and evolved so they even have better points than they did 5 years ago. What if that person was trying to tell the truth and people sometimes are too sensitive these days, which is why you don't judge and hop on the media and everything. Exactly. Right, and I feel like people who just believe everything they're told is that just goes to show their lack of, analytical thinking, right? Critical thinking, it's obviously flawed. And yeah, you cannot believe everything the media tells you. You cannot. With all the things that have happened within the last 3 to 5 years, right? You need to be at least a little skeptical of what some of the media tells you, right? And if you're not, then truly I do not think you are doing enough thinking, right? I truly believe that you are an NPC. You're truly believing everything that you're told, and you shouldn't be believing everything that you're told. Um, well, yeah, that's something that I will say for sure. All right. Yeah, with the cancel culture as well, right? And he brought up a good point. KJ brought up a good point. Um, People are very sensitive nowadays. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that, right? And not everybody can have an opinion and say the right thing always. This is something that I mentioned time and time again when it came to cancel culture. And I said it on previous podcasts, but not everybody can have an opinion and say the right thing always, right? And you shouldn't expect to agree with anybody on any platform about anything, right? About everything, rather. And that is just a part of life in general. So I don't understand why people, they have a disagreement on somebody's point, at one point out of all the points in life, right? And they say, hey, I don't really like that person, right? Do you truly know that person? For the most part, you don't.